Hello, here's my review of my new Delta Cruzer 12-inch dual bevel sliding miter saw. I picked it up today, November 22nd, 2017, the day before Thanksgiving, at Menards for $4.99, and that does not appear to be any kind of a sale price. It's a good price, and they were the only ones that had it in stock. As far as I know, this is the only other saw to use the hinge system other than the Bosch Glide. And it has some other very interesting features. Well, let's take a look. The front lock knob I really like. It's a quarter turn only, so you're not twisting and twisting to tighten. Simple, fast, I like it. I also really like the rock solid detents on the angle adjustment. It just locks right in every time. There's no slop. It's very solid and accurate. The handle is very simple. I like the fact that it's horizontal, not vertical, and the switch doesn't have any lockout that you have to fumble with. So left-handed, right-handed, it's great. It's right there. Grab the trigger and it goes. If you do absolutely have to lock out the trigger has about a 1/4 inch. It's a little bigger than a 1/4 inch hole in it. You can put a 1/4 inch bolt in there, maybe even a padlock, and lock it out. As far as the blade path insert goes, the gap is really wide, and thin strips of cutoff tend to fall in there and kind of get stuck in there. I did end up making a zero clearance insert on Thanksgiving Day, and found this old piece of hardwood. It's 13/64 thick. I found the hinge system on this saw to be very rigid, and I could get the blade to deflect from side to side if I really pushed on it side to side. Plan on using the saw as it was intended and just pushing forward and backwards, and so I don't anticipate any problems with blade deflection. Okay, here's my first cut. There's also no LED, no shadow line, and no laser. Yeah, 14 3/8. The full cut is 13.5. But, and this is one of the reasons I'm very excited about this saw, is that these come off. Then you flip these little tabs and you put a piece of 2x on the base, and now you have to completely cut through your sacrificial piece in order to get the full deal. Your sacrificial piece ends up in 2 pieces. And what was the length of this cut? 15 and an eighth, a little over an eighth, 15 3/16. I was hoping it would do 18 inches. This is 18.5. Let's see. It's 17 1/8. Okay. So doing the little tip up trick gets us out to 18 1/8. So it does not completely cut this off. At a 45, you do not get the finish of the cut at that. So the max it does at 45 is 16.5. 2x6, so we're 5.5 inches high. If it's left in its default setup, you can't cut 2x6 because it hits right here. But this has a neat little setting right there that moves the blade, locks the blade just a little bit forward so that 2x lumber, 6, let's see, what is the max? Well, let me cut this 2x6 off first. I noticed the dust collection worked a lot better cutting lumber that way too. It really actually got most of that cedar dust, if not almost all of it. So it kind of depends on what you're cutting. If you're cutting something laying flat, it's pretty bad. But if you're cutting 2x upright, dust collection was much better. So it won't do, I don't think it'll do this. Can't even get a 2x8 under the blade. Okay, so this is a piece of wood. It's 1 inch thick, and it is 6 3/8 tall. That did that to the, it got pretty close actually. 6 3/8 was actually pretty close to this opening here. That's awesome. You know, typically you're gonna cut that like this. All right, let's try that. Let's try that at a 45. So let's try that. The shield, I gotta move the shield with my thumb. It's getting to its maximums. Nope. Let's go this way. Let's go this way, because it's hitting the axle, the bearing block. So let's go over here. Let's go to 45 this way. 45 degrees. I gotta rock that shield back. Yes, so it does cut 45s that way. So this is the blade that it comes with. Delta 60 tooth, 12 inch, basic blade. Does okay. So I put in a 96 tooth Irwin Marples. The blade change is a little clumsy. The wrench is right here. You gotta loosen this. You gotta loosen this one up quite a ways. You know, you're not just loosening it up a couple turns. This one I just loosened up, you know, not even 1 turn. But this one you've got to loosen up far enough to get past this. And then you can move that out of the way and get to it. So it's a little clumsy, but I suppose it's not really any different from any other saw. It's got a nice, good safety guard on it. Okay, so I mentioned it was just a little bit out of square. So we're going to square this up, and what it looks like you do is you take these 4 screws out, 1, 2, 3, 4. You leave this in a detent, and then you move the whole thing. So let's see if I've got that figured out. Let's give that a 1/4 turn. Give that a 1/4 turn. About a 1/4 turn on that. 1/4 turn on that. Let's see here. Does it slide? Yep, I saw it move. Jog this just a little. Actually, that might have been enough right there. Took a little while, but I did get it to cut right on square. And hopefully you can see that, but that is right on. Okay, so any blade deflection is going to result in blade marks, tooth marks. tooth scratches in this. I mean, this is really good. There really isn't any blade deflection issues there. By deflection, I mean from side. Now, why isn't that square? Darn it. What? Okay, so I ran into a problem where when I'm using this bed and I'm stepping up to get the deeper cut, it wasn't cutting square. It cuts square when I'm cutting down here, it cuts square. But when I move up here, it wasn't cutting square. So what I had to do was build this up with 2 thicknesses of Rockler Nilo tape to get that so that we are making a straight line all the way across. So that was how I fixed this cut surface for square. How deep is this saw? Realistically, you're going to have to do something with the vacuum hose. So, I suppose, yeah, if you had the vacuum hose up above, it's 31 inches from the face of that handle to the back of this mounting clamp for the power cord. Pretty impressive. Good job, Delta. Okay, so if you need to put this in an existing miter station, the motor comes out at about 2 feet high, little over. The handle, 27 maybe. This is like right at about 27 inches. 20, let's see here. It's got some flanges. It's under 26 wide. So there's no factory extensions. Well, hold on a second. What's this under here? Okay, let's look at the underside of this once. All right, whoever shows the underside of these tools? Nobody. So on the underside we have nothing to hold. They have the shapes here as if they were going to put some bars that could come that way, but there isn't anything. There's no mounting for that, but that's the underside of it. So this is the back of it. It does not come with any vacuum adapting connectors, nothing. This hose was just one that I had. Okay, let's look at the hose diameter. This hose, I think I've said it before, it's just one that I had. It's 1 3/8. This is basically 1 3/8. That's the inside. So the outside is 1.5. So it's about 1.5 inch outside, 1 3/8 inside. This 1 3/8 diameter hose fits nicely in there, and that's probably where it'll stay. I don't know where I got this hose, so I can't tell you where to find that. This saw weighs in right around 60 pounds. Am I happy with this saw? Yes. Definitely a keeper. I am very, very pleased with this saw. Good job, Delta. That's my review. Thanks for watching.